You are driving a dead brand. You just don't know it yet. Right now in March 2026, 10 car brands that millions of people trust, drive and love are quietly dying. Some are bleeding billions every single quarter. Some have already shut down their factories. Some have cut tens of thousands of jobs. And at least 2 of them will completely disappear before 2030. The terrifying part, people are still buying these cars today, spending 20, 30, 40 lakhs rupees or tens of thousands of dollars on a brand that might not exist in 3 years. No service centers, no spare parts, no resale value, just a dead logo on your driveway. I'm going to count down all 10 right now, starting from the ones that are struggling and ending with the brand whose collapse will genuinely shock you. Stay until number 1 because it's a name you use every single day. Before the list, you need to understand the 3 forces killing these brands simultaneously. Force number 1, China. Chinese brands sold 27 million cars globally last year, more than any other country ever has. Every customer BYD gains is a customer of Toyota, Honda or Ford losses forever. Force number 2, the EV catastrophe. Brands that didn't invest seriously in electric vehicles 5 years ago are now paying a price so heavy some of them cannot survive it. Force number 3, Trump's tariffs. New American import tariffs in 2026 are adding thousands of dollars to the cost of cars made outside the US. Brands without American factories are being crushed overnight. 3 executioners, 10 victims. Let's count them. Number 10, Mitsubishi. I know what you are thinking. Mitsubishi is everywhere in India, Southeast Asia, everywhere. How are they dying? Here is the reality nobody is talking about. Mitsubishi has zero serious EV strategy for 2026. Zero. Their closest competitor Hyundai has launched 6 new electric models in the last 2 years. Mitsubishi has launched none. In key markets across Southeast Asia and Australia, their core strongholds. Chinese brands like BYD and Chery are eating their launch on price and technology simultaneously. Mitsubishi isn't dying with a bang. There is no dramatic bankruptcy story, no CEO firing, no merger collapse. They are just fading slowly, quietly, like a shop that stops stocking new products and wonders why customers stop coming. And in the car industry, slow death is still a death. Number 9, Chrysler. This is a legendary American name. Chrysler gave us some of the most iconic vehicles in automotive history. And today in March 2026, Chrysler makes exactly one type of vehicle, a minivan. That is it. One product for a brand that once had sedans, muscle cars, luxury vehicles, sports cars. Now they are in single minivan, keeping the name alive. Their planned electric SUV, the Chrysler Air 4, was cancelled. Dead, gone, no replacement announced. Chrysler survives today only because it shares a parent company, Stellantis, with Jeep and Dodge. It is essentially on life support being kept alive by its siblings. The moment Stellantis decide to cut one more brand to save costs, Chrysler's name disappears from dealership overnight. That decision could come any quarter now. Number 8, Dodge. Dodge built its entire identity on one thing, the loudest, most aggressive muscle cars in America. The Charger, the Challenger, the roaring V8 engine that you have heard 3 streets away. And then they killed it. Dodge discontinued the Charger and Challenger, the 2 cars that defined the brand, and replaced them with an electric Charger Daytona that their own fans refused to buy. The result, sales collapsed 50% in the first half of 2025 alone. Think about what that means. In less than 12 months, half of Dodge customers walked away. The people who loved Dodge loved it for the noise, the vibration, the raw petrol aggression. You can't electrify that emotion. And the new EV customers they are trying to attract, they went to Tesla or BYD, not Dodge. Dodge destroyed its own identity, and right now they are a brand without a soul, without a market, and without a plan. Number 7, Alfa Romeo. If you have seen an Alfa Romeo Giulia on the road, you know how stunning it is. Italian design perfection, the kind of car people turn to stare at. But here is the problem. Viewers, fans, not buyers. In the first 6 months of 2025, Alfa Romeo sold just 3,164 cars in the entire United States. That number is so small that some individual Toyota dealerships sell more cars than that in a single month. The Giulia sedan is down 32%. The Stelvio crossover is down 40%. And the Tonale is down 28%. Every single model declining simultaneously. Why? Because Alfa Romeo carries a decades-long reputation for unreliability so severe that even their own fans say, "I love it, but I will never buy it." When your most passionate supporters won't spend money on you, you have a terminal problem. Alfa Romeo is the most beautiful brand on this list and potentially the saddest story. Number 6. Maserati, the Ghibli, the Gran Turismo, the Quattroporte. These names sounds like poetry. Maserati was the dream of every petrolhead who wanted something beyond a Ferrari. Now look at the numbers from 2025. Maserati just sold over 11,000 cars in all of 2024, half of what they sold in the year before. Revenue sank to 1.3 billion. Operating loss to 60 million. They are losing money on every single car they sell. And 2025 was worse. The first half alone showed an operating loss of 139 million with a minus 37% operating margin. Minus 37%. That means the harder they work, the more money they lose. The Ghibli is gone. Their lineup is stale. Their EV strategy is non-existent. And their parent company, Stellantis, which also owns Chrysler and Dodge, is itself under massive pressure. Maserati is a 5-star restaurant with the same menu from 1995 and a landlord demanding rent they cannot pay. Number 5. Jaguar. And here is where the story gets truly bizarre. Jaguar, one of Britain's most iconic brands, sold just 13,210 vehicles in the entire United States in 2024, one of the lowest of total of any major brands globally. And their response to this crisis, they took a year off. I am not exaggerating. Jaguar paused production of new models in 2025 while they attempt a complete all-electric relaunch. A car company that cannot afford to lose customers voluntarily stopped selling cars for a year. Now here is the India's connection that every Indian viewers need to know. Jaguar is owned by Tata Motors. The same Tata that makes the Nexon, the Curve, the cars millions of Indians drive. If Jaguar's electric relaunch fails in 2026 and 2027, and the early signs are concerning, Tata Motors absorbed that financial hit directly, which affects everything from Tata's R&D budget to their ability to compete with Hyundai and Mahindra in India. Jaguar's death is not just a British story. For Indian car buyers, it's personal. Number 4. Nissan. The GTR, the 370Z, the Petrol, the Skyline. These are cars that define generation of car lovers around the world. Here is what is happening to Nissan right now in March 2026. Nissan CEO Ivan Espinosa, as of February 12 this year, forecast a 4.2 billion net loss for the fiscal year while implementing 20,000 job cuts globally. Nissan has now closed 7 factories around the globe, reducing its production network from 17 plants down to 10. The company has already cut 160 billion yen in fixed costs and is ahead of schedule of job reduction, representing 50% of its entire global workforce. Nissan even sold its factory in India, selling its 51% stake in the Relon Nissan Automotive India plant to Renault in 2025. And their historic South Africa factory was sold to Chinese brand Chery Automobile in February 2026. Let that land for a second. Nissan's India factory, now owned by Renault. Nissan's South African factory, now owned by Chinese brands. Japan's second biggest car company is selling off its manufacturing assets country by country just to survive. They tried to merge with Honda to get through this. Honda said only if Nissan became a subsidiary. Nissan said that was outrageous. The merger died. And now Nissan is going it completely alone. With 4.2 billion in losses, 7 factories closed, and no clear path to profitability until fiscal year 2026. If the plan even works, Nissan at number 4. because there is still a plan. But every week that passes, the margin for error gets thinner. Number 3. Aston Martin, James Bond car, a symbol of British elegance. The car that made every man feel like a spy, just sitting in the driver's seat. It is drowning in debt. Here is the real March 2026 numbers. Aston Martin is carrying 1.38 billion in debt. Free cash flow is down 321 million in just 6 months. Revenue plunged 25%, and their most profitable product line, special edition models, collapsed by 85%. 85%. Their most expensive, highest margin cars, almost nobody bought them. They raised 210 million in emergency funding in late 2024, but that was a bandage on a wound that needs surgery. Add US tariffs, making it more expensive to export to America. Add a Chinese sales slump. Add a product lineup that hasn't excited anyone in years. Here is the hardest truth. Aston Martin survives only as long as wealthy investors keep believing the brand has a future. The moment that belief breaks, it's over. I genuinely feel sad saying this, because the cars are extraordinary. The DB12, the Vantage, the Valkyrie, stunning machines. But 1.38 billion in debt doesn't care how beautiful your cars are. Number 2. Fisker. Fisker is already dead, but I am putting them at number 2 because their story is the most important warning for every car buyer on earth right now. In the summer of 2025, a US bankruptcy court in Delaware finally approved Fisker's liquidation plan. The company is officially finished. Fisker delivered just 11,000 Ocean SUVs before running out of cash. Bankruptcy filing revealed more than 1 billion in debts. Assets were broken apart and sold off piecemeal. Here is what happened to the people who actually bought those cars. Thousands of people paid $70,000 for their Fisker Ocean EV and are still paying off loans on a car whose manufacturer no longer exists. No warranty, no software updates, no official service, no dealer network. Early adopters faced software glitches, drained batteries, malfunctioning key fobs, and unanswered service requests. Without continued updates, many owners' SUVs became what frustrated owners on social media call bricks on wheels. $70,000 gone into a car that cannot be properly repaired today. And right now in March 2026, Fisker owners have still no clear way to repair their vehicles. The Fisker Owners Association, a community of desperate buyers, has banded together trying to fix their own cars because there is literally nobody else to call. This is not a hypothetical risk. This happened to real people last year. This is exactly the conversation I had about BYD in India, about Chinese EVs with no service network, about brands that are new, unproven, and financially fragile. Fisker is the proof of what happens when that bet goes wrong. Remember this story next time you are about to spend your life savings on an unproven brand. And number 1, the brand closest to an existential crisis right now. A brand that has been building cars since 1903. A brand that literally invented the modern assembly line. A brand so foundational to the car industry that without it, none of the other brands on this list would even exist. Ford. I know what you are thinking. Ford, the F-150, the Mustang, they are one of the biggest companies in the world. How are they on this list? Let me show you the numbers that came out just 6 weeks ago in February 2026. Ford Motor Company lost 8.2 billion in 2025. The entire loss tied directly to a 19.5 billion charge taken into account for its completely failing electric vehicle division. 19.5 billion written off because their EV strategy failed. But here is what's even more alarming. Ford's own CFO has confirmed the division will lose another 4 to 4.5 billion in 2026, and it is not expected to become profitable until 2029. So let me do the maths for you. 2023 4.3 billion loss, 2024 5.1 billion loss, 2025 4.8 billion loss, 2026 projected 4.5 billion loss. That is nearly 20 billion in EV losses in 4 years. and the losses are continuing right now as we speak. In December 2025, Ford cancelled 3 previously planned EVs: a full-size electric pickup, a commercial van for the US, and a commercial van for the Europe. They also ended up production of the F-150 Lightning. F-150 Lightning, Ford's most celebrated new vehicle, launched in decades, cancelled. And in February 2026, just weeks ago, Ford's EV sales plunged 71% compared to the same month last year, the steepest single month decline in Ford's EV history. 71% in 1 month. Now here is why Ford is at number 1 and not at number 10. Ford is not going bankrupt tomorrow. Their commercial truck division, Ford Pro, made $6.8 billion profit in 2025 and is essentially subsidizing the entire EV disaster. Ford will survive this, probably. But Ford is at number 1 because they represent the most dangerous lesson on this entire list. If Ford, with 120 years of history, 187 billion in annual revenue, and the best-selling vehicle in America for 47 consecutive years, if Ford can lose 20 billion chasing the wrong EV strategy, what does that say about every smaller brand on this list that made the same mistake with a fraction of the resources? The brands at number 10 through number 3 don't have Ford's F50 profits to absorb the losses. They just have the losses, and that is why they are disappearing. So let me bring this together with 3 things every car buyers need to know in 2026. Number 1, a brand's history means nothing anymore. Ford invented the assembly line. Nissan made the GTR. Aston Martin made Bond's car. None of that history pays today's bill. Judge every brand on what they are doing right now, not what they did 20 years ago. Number 2, if a brand has no credible EV or hybrid plan, avoid buying new from them. You are not just buying a car, you are betting on the company's survival for the next 10 years. Number 3, Fisker proved that a $70,000 car can become worthless overnight. Always ask yourself, if this brand disappears in 3 years, what happens to my car service, spare parts, and resale value? Now drop in the comments which brand on this list shocked you the most. And the biggest question, is your car brand on this list? Tell me what you drive. I reply to every single comment in the first 60 minutes. And if you want the follow-up video, the 5 car brands that will dominate and will survive everything, that video is coming next week. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. I am Tridip, this is Underwood Hub, and I will see you in the next one.